right now.
We'll call the meeting officially to order and start with announcements. The announcements we have are, we had 2 checks for over $25,000. The vendor was Buyer Ford on both. One check was $35,942. That was for a police hybrid SUV. And the other one was $37,370, and that was for a water department hybrid SUV. We also had another check over $25,000 to JC Land and Site Development. That was part of the Matheson Park renovation out of the Capital Fund, and that was for $42,513. I'd say my only other announcements are to continue to your social distancing. Please use common sense, follow park rules, no bicycles, no dogs. Try to walk in the same direction, and if you can't keep 6 feet minimum distance, you have to wear a mask by state executive order. So I know it's a little bit of a loophole to say that if you think you can stay socially distanced, you don't have to wear the mask. But the reality is, if you're walking on something like the Aqueduct or River Walk, it's going to be very, very difficult to do that, or on Broadway. So please consider wearing a mask. I know it's uncomfortable, especially if you're jogging, but it's necessary. And that's all I have for announcements. I don't believe we had any correspondence, Larry.
So Brian, I have one more. We should probably make the comment about the request for courtesy towards your neighbors in terms of refraining from leaf blower usage during this time of, I don't want to say lockdown, but shut in.
If you see your landscaper using them, please go outside and ask them not to use them, because we've asked all of them, we've reached out to them, and we will happily ban them. And you know, as I explained to some of the landscapers, if we ban them, they might never come back. So it's in their own interest to act like a good neighbor now. Kind of like the same thing with the parks. If people can't follow the rules, we're going to unfortunately have to close the park. And it seems like every day we get more, bad behavior. Whether it's residents or not, we have to take care of our parks. So we have to, potentially close them. And it's getting very close to that. I will point out that the Irvington school fields, which have been closed since March, I walk by them often, and I often see people conjugating in groups, playing sports. We even had someone teaching his toddler how to ride a bicycle on the track, that they had to carry the bike over the locked track. So it's very disappointing, some of the behavior. It's no one's more special at this time. There's a reason it's closed. You shouldn't have to hop a fence to jog. There's plenty of places for you to jog. But anyway.
And the only other pet peeve I have is I wish, even though we don't have garbage cans on Main Street at the moment due to the scheduling constraints on the DPW, it'd be nice if people would pick up their trash, their used garbage, dog litter bags and gloves and everything else. Just don't leave them on the street. Take them.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And throw them out. I just can't believe people think it's okay just to throw stuff down on the ground like that.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I agree, Mark. Well said. And if there's no other comments, we'll move on to the consent agenda.
You have public comment.
Oh, public comment.
So do you want to just outline the instructions for that?
Sure. If you have public comment, you can use the Q&A button. Is our preferred one, correct, Larry?
Well, yeah, either that or raise your hand using the raise hand button. There should be there.
Yep. And the Q&A, what we can do is you can actually have a question, and you can actually, I think we can go to them on video if they want to ask a question as well.
Yeah, or at least audio anyway. But yeah.
So if anybody has any questions at this time, there will be a chance at the end as well.
Right.
And obviously during the public hearing, we'll also turn it over to public comment. So.
A pop quiz at the end?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, you can move on.
Otherwise, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Does anyone have any questions or comments?
I'm trying to look at the screen that Larry has posted up here, and how do you move off of the agenda page down through the
I have to do it, but I wasn't.
Just because. All right, it was just the agenda. So
I was going to move down. I was going to move down when it comes time to to look at the budget stuff.
Before, but I was just before I voted to approve I just wanted to glance through it. So
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda if I can have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now we'll go back to the continuation of the public hearing for the 2021 operating budget. Brenda, I don't know if you want to kind of catch up to where we are, how we got here.
Oh,
You don't have to start in January,
I don't
maybe
have to
just
go
from the
back
last
6
meeting.
months. Okay. I think, well, in light of all that's happening with the economy, COVID, we took a proactive approach, a conservative approach, and made some modifications to the budget. We discussed it at the last meeting. And instead of going and slashing all these different lines, it was decided, because the village is in such a good financial position, to utilize some of that fund balance. Like how you said it, Brian, is like the rainy day fund. Well, it's a rainy day and let's utilize it. And it's with the hope that the economy will recover and that next year we don't have to utilize that fund balance, but go back to our original revenue projections. So the ones that we found were the most, susceptible to economic turndowns would be our sales tax. So what we did is we decreased the sales tax by $50,000. We decreased railroad parking. We saw that in the past that railroad parking was affected by economic turndowns. We decreased it by $25,000. We decreased fines and forfeitures by also $25,000. We're not really doing parking enforcement at this time. Also decreasing building permits by $10,000. And also mortgage tax. We anticipate mortgage tax to be affected. We don't know to what extent. So to be conservative, or just to be on the safe side, we decreased it by $50,000. Maybe you can go to the other, Larry, to the original spreadsheet. So the plan at that point was to offset those items with fund balance. Do you have that amount, Larry? Oh, Larry's speaker is off.
You're muted.
You're muted, Larry.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's only the first one tonight. Okay.
I
So,
think it was
so which
160?
spreadsheet? Yeah.
Yeah, it was the amount of fund balance we were utilizing to offset the decrease in revenues. Is that 160?
So from that. Okay. Hold on one second.
Yeah. I don't have that one in front of me.
Yeah. All right.
These numbers were
There we go.
$160,000.
Oh, hold on. Right here.
Right.
Sorry, I went too far.
100,000, right.
Yep.
Looking at further, then with while the tax rate was going to really increase minimally, we just felt to help the residents in light of what the hardships people may be facing, to come in at a flat tax rate. So to accomplish that, we eliminated the advancement of the reoccurring paving. We're hoping to originally do that and not have to borrow. It would not hurt the village to borrow that next year, so we decided to remove it, and that decreased the expense side by $60,000.
Yeah, I'll just add one thing on that, Brenda, is that it's not like we're adding additional paving. That's paving that we've been doing, but each year we've methodically been taking it, since we do it every year, we've been taking it out of the capital budget where we have to obviously finance it, and moving it into the regular operating budget, which you did say it. I just want to say it again.
No, I'm glad you did. Thank you. It's good. Also, we felt that perhaps the gasoline line could be decreased, as well as utilities. Justice court salaries, a slight decrease.
So can we see that?
The next slide, yeah, then I'll go through what I actually did. Over here, those decreases, and then the total budget reduction was 131,000. When I actually implemented those numbers, it came out to a tax rate that had a decimal in it. It's just nice to have 00 right across the line. What I did, sorry. So what I did do is I modified it slightly in that budget resolution. So the change would be, instead of using $181,000 of fund balance, it's an even $180,000 of fund balance in total. So it brings up on the resolution an increase of fund balance of $205,000. And then instead of decreasing property taxes by 131, it comes to 130,600. So the slight change is decreased fund balance from what you had. We're relying on fund balance less by $1,000. We're decreasing taxes by 400, and then we're lowering the expense line for gas by additional 600. So we're just fine tuning it so that on the spreadsheet, it comes across as zero.
Right, and all of that's reflected on this resolution here.
And
But with oil being under $0 a barrel, I think we could lower our gas.
That was quite a headline today.
That was
Paid
good,
for
yeah.
driving around.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, sorry, they already do get paid, don't they?
Again, I'll give one little speech on use of fund balance. Fund balance is basically accumulated taxes that we've, that we either because we, underestimated revenues or underestimated expenses. In the years, all the years, past years, we've accumulated this balance that has grown. It's almost 30% of our operating budget now. Typically, you want to keep it below 25%. So again, it's almost like getting a refund of money that we've collected in the past for taxpayers. We typically have been, we've used a little bit each year because we've frankly been building up the surplus every year, and you get to be too much. Actually the comptroller's office isn't happy with you. Again, using this money we don't really feel it's like a gimmicky thing to do this year, because we feel that a lot of the revenues, as Brenda said, a lot of the revenues are hopefully bounce back, even if they don't bounce back 100%, if they bounce back 80%, 85%, we can deal with that. But we didn't, again, want to slash services, which, the only way to really save money is lay off people. We didn't want to lay off people and slash services for kind of a one-time event. So the money that we've been, we're kind of being rewarded for being fiscally conservative and having responsible budgets, conservative budgets. Last year, I think we had about $600,000 surplus, Brenda. Even with the last couple months of our fiscal year being during, the COVID-19 crisis, we still were conservative enough, and the revenues continue to surprise us to the upside, and we were able to, kind of eliminate some expenses during the year. I think having a focus on the budget all year round really allows us to save money all year round, and I think now we're, again, as Brenda had mentioned, this is the rainy day that we've been saving for. I'm proud to deliver a zero increase budget and give back some of that surplus.
So Brian?
Yes.
How much so we're talking about 205,000. Is that the final number?
No, that's additional. So the total is 380,000.
Oh, additional. Okay, right.
We have 175.
Yeah, this reflects a change from the tentative budget. The tentative budget had 175 in it, right, which it has had for a number of years.
That's what I was going to ask. The first question. The second question, because I did see the 375 or 380, whatever it was on the other page.
Yeah.
But my question is, what percentage of the fund balance is this? We asked that before, and I just thought it was interesting as an answer to people.
Over $5 million, right? I think we have it on Larry's fancy spreadsheet, the first tab.
Yep.
Want to know how much 380,000 is?
Out of
percent of fund.
So the
5.5 million.
Yeah, so it's just short of 5.5 million is what we project as of May 31st. So that percentage is what you're looking for?
Yeah.
Of what the existing, yeah, okay. Brian, are you tabulating away there?
Yeah, it's just about 6.9%.
Right, I just was trying to put a scale on it so people could see that it's not really excessive load on, drain on the fund balance. I guess that's what I was trying to get at.
Yeah, that's
right.
A good question, Mark. That's a good way of looking at it for the rest of us.
I mean, I think you could almost make the case that we still have, almost too much fund balance, which is, again, not a bad place to be if, with all the unknowns for next year as well.
Not for next year, that's for sure.
Yeah. But, it's, again, it's not, we're not, as you kind of alluded to, Mark, spending, our fund balance is not now spent, and we were putting the potential, we're putting the village at risk. Another thing I'll point out is that we had, I think when Connie and I got on the board, almost a $2 million deficit in the water fund, Larry.
Yeah.
That in the
just
last
short.
12 years, we were able to get rid of that completely. Last year, I think we got rid of it. We finally got rid of the last piece using some of the unassigned fund balance in the general fund to offset that. So overall, our finances are excellent. We'll remind everyone we did get upgraded by Moody's. I really honestly think that they would have given us the AAA rating, but they just didn't want to go from A all the way up to AAA in one kind of fell swoop. But we got upgraded. They were very, happy with the way we've managed the finances for the last decade plus. And again, I think that this budget is another one that's very responsible, as well as, responding to kind of something that, we were done with our budget, a month and a half, 2 months ago, and we had to kind of go back almost to the drawing board. But I think we, really thought it through and said, how much of this is one time versus, a permanent change. And, we hope that it's more of a one-time hit. The economy will come back. When, we don't know, but, for the foreseeable future, we think this is a very responsible budget.
I just wanted to say, we always say this, but to thank you to Brenda and Larry for working twice on the budget, I guess you'd say, working on multiple budgets, but also to the departments for the work that they did up front and whatever they helped in terms of the process of finally getting some additional reductions and stuff. So it seemed to all work very well, and thank you.
Yeah, agreed.
Thank you. Thanks.
Should we open it up to the public now, Larry?
Yeah. So questions, same thing as public comments section. Questions can come in either Q&A or raising your hand, electronically. So we'll give that a second. But anyway, and the other thing I'll expand on is that, and I know I probably don't even need to say this, but we are ready to react, in any way that this economy goes. I mean, obviously, if things look more permanent than we thought, more, deeper than we thought, we still can react to that. We're not going to keep our heads in the sand and ignore it. So, and we do that all the time anyway, but it's more so now. We'll be monitoring things. So
that means that you're going to lose the beach vacation, I take it.
Yeah, sorry, but I'm going to enjoy it now while I can. It's wishful thinking anyway. So that doesn't look like you have any questions. So if you want to make the motion to close the public hearing, go.
I'll make the motion to close the public hearing if I can have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And let me switch over the resolution here.
Should have put it on the fourth tab.
I know, yeah, really. So I'm not, this is like being a conductor of an orchestra here.
Found out I'm not a real Zoom driver, but I just found out that if you hold your space bar down, it unmutes you.
Yes, I think that's right. You can do that like on the fly if you have just a little something to say, but not too much.
That should be our new standard.
Yeah.
Let me start my reading comprehension here.
Okay.
Whereas a public hearing was duly advertised, opened on April 6, 2020, and continued to April 20, 2020, and closed. And whereas the tax rate for 2020/21 shall be set at $7.8147 per thousand, or $7.8146 per 1,000 assessed value. Now therefore be it resolved to adopt the 2020-21 village operating budget with the following modifications from the filed tentative budget. Sales tax decreased by $50,000, railroad parking decreased by $25,000, fines and forfeitures decreased by $25,000, building permits decreased by $10,000, mortgage tax decreased by $50,000, street paving reduced by $60,000, central garage gasoline by $10,600, utilities by $5,000, justice court salaries by $10,000, real property taxes lowered by $130,600, appropriated fund balance surplus increased by $205,000. Further resolved that water rates shall be increased by 1.57% and sewer rates by 1.99% as follows. The rates inside the village for up to 100 gallons, 7.17, over 100, 17.98. Watch your excess, people. Sewer, 51 cents for up to 100, and 134 for excess. Outside the village, water up to 100, $11.89. Over 100, $29.79. Sewer up to 100, 85 cents, and over 100, $2.11 for the excess. Is that it?
That is it.
All right, so I'll make a motion if I can have a second.
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 All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Nice job, everyone.
Very good
Okay,
job.
well done. Thank you.
You.
Reports of boards, standing committees, and officers. Trustee liaison reports. We start with you, Mark, for
I really don't have anything right now except the GPTF started their own newsletter, which I don't know if any of you guys got it or not, but you subscribe to it through the same way you subscribe to any of the village e-blasts. So they're trying to get this out every, not monthly, but certainly every couple of months, they'll put out some information that might be of interest to people.
okay, Connie.
Oh, what about Larry Lonke?
Oh, it's true. I'm going out of order. I think I was just going up my screen. Larry Lonke.
Okay, I'll go next. From Parks and Recreation, the playground work is going well, and they're happy with the project to this point. Over 500 bags of food have been delivered to date to up to 90 locations for both seniors and families in need. It's a remarkable job by all of the recreation department and a tremendous number of volunteers, and they don't get enough credit for that. As Brian had mentioned before, please obey rules in the parks, in the park, and on the trails. Please carry in and carry out on the trails. Please keep dogs on the leash. Last thing that Rec has is that they are preparing for what things might look like depending on what happens when they reopen. As Farmers Market Liaison, I just wanted to compliment Larry and Brian for working with the farmers market to try to figure out a way to get it to return back to Irvington, in the face of the COVID restrictions.
Okay.
So I just had a quick one for you, Larry, if I could. Is that link still up for people to donate to the food program?
It's been mentioned in a couple of different emails and communications. I don't think we have a prominent link on the homepage. So it's been part of communications that have gone out by us and by, I think, the school. I think the PTO might have sent something out.
Do you think we should put a link on the homepage just to make farmers, if you can?
Yeah, we can, sure.
Okay. All right. Do you want me to go?
Sure. Go ahead, Connie.
I did ask Greg Allen, our theater manager, if he had any messages, and many people, I think, saw his incredibly sensitive and professional video. I think people can still see that. I'm not sure where it is, about being on intermission and just keeping in touch with the people interested in the theater. The volunteers who are the theater commission, they have now set up a Zoom meeting on Wednesday, and they have to think again about all the contingency in case the fall opening is changed. Greg says he's also working on the squeaky floors in the theater. So I guess there are a lot of little projects that one can do, but we very much appreciate what the commissioners are doing and what Greg is doing to keep the idea of the theater in people's minds. Now, I think the DPW sent something, maybe to Karen, maybe to Larry. I'll try to find that. It was a DPW report somewhere, but I'll let Janice go while I look for that.
Okay, the fire department, as of 4/19, there were 17 calls this month and 80 year to date. They've been obviously working with other departments, including a Mohegan Lake fire and assisting a Sawmill Parkway incident where somebody drove into the lake. They've been arranging for online training for members, and I know the Chief Larry is working with you to set up Zoom meetings. Meantime,
We worked it all out today, yeah.
Oh, great, very good. And personnel have been coming into the firehouse on an individual basis to do their skills checklist, which is required credits that we saw last time. The good news, or the most heartening news, they have been doing birthday drive-bys, and those have been extremely popular. So kids can't have parties, but they can have a fire truck drive by and sing. So that's been very well received. Library has a lot of online resources and programs for every age group. Also streaming possibilities for courses, concerts, movies, learning new languages. Just go to the irvingtonlibrary.org site.
Yeah, I'm actually planning on sending out an email about that as well. I have I'm about 3 behind, but they're the 3rd one. But hopefully the rest of the week's a little quieter during my real work, so I can focus on my 2nd real work. I did find the highway department activities as well, Connie.
Go ahead.
April 13th, rain and windstorm, trees and branches down at over a dozen locations blocking roads. They cleaned up after that storm. The pothole killer was filling potholes throughout the village. They're preparing spring summer equipment. They assisted the park department with the removal of organic waste and assisted the water department with the repair of a pressure reducing valve on Ardsley Avenue West. I don't think I have one from Jim. So
No, I didn't see that either. But I would like to comment on Janice's comment about the fire trucks and the birthday parties. It's really thrilling. It's not just for the kids to see the several fire trucks and just going around the block. It just made my day when I saw them come by. I was like, they're here for me. Everybody can think, hey, they're here for me.
Hey, my birthday's tomorrow. Not really.
Yeah, it's Mark's birthday. So it's a very, very nice thing. And I guess however you pass on your message to them, please do.
Will do.
Yeah.
I'm representing them on the call tonight. So
Okay. All right, that's all I have.
excellent. Any additional public comment?
Doesn't appear to be.
Review of action items. Thank the fire department.
And yeah, I'll be posting a link to the senior emergency fund.
Mhm.
And I got to get my emails out.
All right.
Otherwise, I don't
yeah.
have anything else. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Did you go to Mary Ann?
Oh,
No,
I'm
I
sorry,
don't
Marianne.
have a report.
I didn't go to Brenda either. Or
I
you,
have no
Larry.
work.
I completely skipped over all of you, and I already ate dinner.
Me too.
So I guess we start with you, Larry.
Yeah. Well, look, I think
Sorry.
I'm gonna I think I'm gonna pass on it. But I think but in all honesty, I've been, as you've probably seen, more frequently putting out as much information as we can reasonably put out. That's also reliable too. I mean, it's hard. I hate to throw stuff out there about everything that's going on in the world, but we try to put out information about what the state's been doing, what the county's been doing, and what we've been doing as a village. And that's been going out with some frequency, and seems to be helpful to keep people informed and up to date about what's going on.
And those things become linked in a kind of a history list on the homepage as messages from the village.
Yes, they do expire because I can't have daily updates showing up for a month, but there may be a way for stories for an archive to be visible, but they're there for each update's there for at least 3 or 4 days.
Well, that's probably their useful lifetime because so much is in flux.
Exactly. Yeah. That's it.
Village clerk treasurer's report.
I think she did.
Anything else?
It looks like she's got a bridge to buy behind her. Or did you buy that already?
Village attorney's report.
None.
Well done.
Brian, I'm sorry. Real quick, I should mention that the anticipated start date for the Station Road sidewalk project and with the Main Street curbs and sidewalks is May 4th. There was some field work being done, surveying and kind of taking measurements, getting ready, but that was being done today. But the plan is May 4th. As Trustee Lonke knows, I'm going to be gathering some additional details about road closures and timing and some of the logistics about what's going to go on with the construction and communicate that to the community, but also to the Spiral Park Neighborhood Association, so that everyone's fully informed. We'll have I'm sure plenty of people in the audience watching the construction as it progresses, since they're sitting in their houses with nothing else to do. So, but that project's going to get underway.
I saw them surveying today.
Yeah. So, but May 4th is the timing.
Okay.
One more shot at public comment.
No.
All right. So I will make a motion to adjourn again after I've talked to everybody. If I can have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all
Okay.
very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And have a good night, everyone.
Stay
Have a good
safe.
night. Talk to you tomorrow, Larry.
Thank you.
Yep.
Wow.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.